Shalom, Israel, giving all praises to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakah Kadash, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, double honors to the apostle, elders, bishops, great millstone. My salutation to the brother, teacher, word for the hopeful elect, soon to be the elect, most high will to the hopeful extended elect, Shalom, blessings. Getting right into it, man, the 501c3 charter churches, which is all those churches, basically non-profit organizations, they destroyed a lot of our people's mind with religion, changing the narrative, operating by government standards. And I'm going to read this. I'm not going to make this long at all, but what a 501c3 church is. A church is automatically considered tax exempt under IRS Code 501c3 if it meets the requirements. Churches do not have to apply to the IRS to be exempt, though some choose to. So, the preachers they don't have to pay taxes. And the church is a business. I mean, they celebrate everything. All the holidays was based on buying and selling merchandise and products. And I'll read a little bit more. It says the religious purpose only. The church must be organized and operated exclusively for religious purposes. No private business, personal profit, and these people they are personally profiting. And it can't be no private business, so that means you have to coexist with what the government says and what they approve. Can't be nothing private. If you doing it you got private business, and really the most highest house is not to be made of merchandise anyway. But these, as you see on TV, these preachers are all about advertising, all about personal profit. That's why they had this one preacher, I forget his name, but he was asking like 15,000, 20,000 from every person, and he was pressuring them. And the government didn't get involved and say, well, this is illegal. We have to shut this church down. So that's all bogus, man. Or unrelated commercial activity. Everything's a commercial with them. Even their music. And even in the Hollywood game, you got those people like Kirk Franklin. You got, who is that other? Cheryl, I forget her name, man. Donnie Kirkland or something like that, and Yolanda Adams, all them devil worshippers and witches. Nobody's shut them down yet, and all they do is sell their music, advertise it, use it as a business, walk on the Hollywood Hollywood carpet, do music videos. Man, this is the most hypocritical. One of the most hypocritical things you can ever read or look up, man. No private inurement. Church money cannot benefit individuals. Pastors can be paid, but compensation must be reasonable. No excess of salaries, gifts, or personal use of church funds, which they do. Political activity restrictions absolutely prohibited. It says endorsing or opposing political candidates. See, you can't oppose or endorse political candidates. So, but they do. They'll ask some of these prominent preachers that become stars, what have you. Demon ass F boy TD Snakes, and a lot of them other ones. They'll ask them what they think about the political party, what they think about Trump, what they think about. So, donating church funds to campaigns, using sermons or platforms to tell members how to vote. They do all this stuff, man. Allowed issue-based advocacy, social justice, poverty, civil rights. This is what's allowed. Voter education, non-party. This is just Lobbying limits. Churches may engage in some lobbying, but it cannot be a substantial part of activities. They even broke that rule. Constantly lobbying legislation. Occasional advocacy on moral and social issues. Organization. This is impossible, man. You know, that's why there is people so confused and bugged out that go to those churches, man. Because you can't have all this activity and involving all this business and advertisement and political matters, which they do, is supposed to be prohibited, but they do that, and then and be straight-minded. Recognized creed and form of worship. A legitimate church typically has recognized creed and form of worship, regular religious services, established leadership past the elders board, distinct legal identity operate often incorporated at the state level, record keeping and even though churches are exempt from filing Form 990, must keep financial records, must be able to show funds are used for church purposes, donations must be properly documented. Donations and taxes. Donations are tax deductible so employment laws still apply. Churches must follow payroll tax rules. Some clergy exceptions are minimum wage and labor laws, anti-discrimination laws with religious exemptions. No annual RS filing required. Automatically tax exempt. Greater privacy protection still subject to IRS audits if abuse is suspected. Yeah, all this is BS, man. But like I said, and in the previous, I looked up for the black church, and it's similar. Um, and people, and so you can't discriminate in there. 501c3 is a tax exempt private nonprofit status under the U.S. law, and black church. See, you're not supposed to be under the U.S. law. You know, that's why we consider domestic terrorists outcast with the work we're doing, because it's nothing of them. It's nothing. We don't share the same mind state, the same body of work, same practices are not approved by them. That's why, hey, they tell us, they gather around, they tell us, hey, y'all got to move off this is private property. Y'all got to go across the street or move up the block. Yeah, those are the type of things we have to do. You know, especially being on somebody's property. But we're not under the status of U.S. law so much as to, you know, changing the narrative of our belief, changing, you know, the course of our the spirit in the scriptures. It says in black churches qualify the same way as any other church. There is no separate category for black churches, but there are resources and considerations that are especially relevant. Yeah, there you go. You know, black churches qualify for 501c? Yes, churches are automatically considered tax exempt under IRS rules if they meet the requirements regardless of race, denomination, or size. See, you can't come together. Like, if you from a different denomination, a different religion, you can't come together. But yet, you know, you can't discriminate against one that has, you know, a different religion, you know, and you could have an atheist that's with a believer. And I know there's some dynamics according to the law with that, but you can have, and you know, I'm just reading this information, man. You can be a person not believing in the Most High or God, and have what they does, and he's going to church or she's going to church, with the believer, and they can still maintain a relationship like that. But it's gonna the opposite is gonna show. Opposing side is gonna show. I have arguments, and all that. And a lot of that stuff is just neutral, man. It's just people don't really even care. Like, it's atheists in there. Like, you could be you have a so-called Christian hook up with an atheist, and they love them. They be like, well, you don't never have to come to church. I'll just be the one that go to church, because my mother, my grandmother, whatever. But we could still have a relationship, get married, and all that. Eventually, I might stop going to church. So, ain't nobody really trying to encourage the other to get right with the Most High, to get right with God. And we're not supposed to go to those churches anyway. What makes a church eligible? A church, including black churches, must be organized in religious, charitable, and or educational purposes. That's their education, not the truth. Education comes from the scriptures. It really comes from within, like the apostles always say. But so the Most High, if he's not dealing with you on that level, you can't be of his spirit. You can't be of his church. Not distribute profits in the individual. I'm getting closed out. Avoid endorsing political, like I said, limit lobbying activities. Like I said, in these churches, they worship Thanksgiving, Christmas. They worship all those holidays, which it has all kind of activities, all kind of business, all kind of what do you call it? Endorsements, advertisements, and all that BS, man. So this is what destroys our people. Like it or not. And now the real truth is out there. The real Christians are out there. The real anointed ones. There's friction, there's opposition, and there's conflict. And mainly too because it's messing up their business, their money. It's mafia men that run these churches. It's the Roman Catholic, going back to the Roman Catholic Church, man, the false prophet that talks about Revelation. So, this is more informational. You can go to scriptures regarding false prophets, the foundation, if it's not of Yahweh Shai, which is the true Son of God, then foundation is not able to stand. You can read more into 501c3 church and their churches back then narrated by the so-called white men during slavery times, and you can read about the invisible church, which our people had a church outside of the church that was narrated by the so-called white man, and it was, so to speak, it was termed also or called also a secret church. So, yeah, the church is falling. It has failed, and our people are going to start coming out of that majorly, especially in these end times. Maybe more so. Like Most High going to turn it up this year. But it's the year of apostasy, agents, and sellouts, and they are showing their heads like the apostles' coin. They're showing their heads. Now you got the new Black Panther Party, I think, resurfacing. You might have different kind of new Black Hebrew Israelite camps. So it's gonna be a bugged out year, man. Anyway, Shalom.